have a long-term view, right? Things take time. Compounding, the secret ingredient is time. Give things time, right? Markets by design go up and down, right? Volatility is the name of the game. But how you deal with it is what will determine your long-term success in the markets as well.
Hello and welcome back to Paisa Bolta Hai. I'm your host Mridanjali Raval. Get ready to meet the queen of financial independence. She's the brains behind Basis, a company which is trying to empower women by making them financially independent. She has a degree from Wharton Business School and experience of 10 years in fintech industry. Sit back, relax, and learn from the best. Hi Hena, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So in social media's era, right, there's a lot of conversation about financial independence of women. Will you tell our audience what exactly is this about?
I think the definition of financial independence is the same regardless of gender. Right. To me, being financially independent is the fact that money isn't the primary thing that dictates your choices. Right. Money is not the reason why you're in a certain job. Right. Money is not the reason why you're continuing to stay married to someone you don't want to stay married to. Right. So having complete autonomy over your money, having full control over it, is what I believe is financial independence, and that is how you live a truly independent life.
If a woman with no prior experience wants to invest, how do you suggest she goes about it?
So this is exactly one of the things we're solving for at Basis, because we saw knowledge was the single largest thing preventing a woman from taking that step. Someone who's new to this can get started. So we've built what we've called knowledge boosters. I know at StockGro you'll also do bite-sized content. I think that's the way to go, right? Get on the app, allocate, as little as 15 to 30 minutes a week initially, right? And just educate yourself about concepts. Start with basic things like what is inflation, right? How does risk and return work? What is compounding, right? So our knowledge boosters start with basic concepts like that. So yeah, one part is education. Two is start small. You don't have to have large amounts of money. That's another misconception that I want to invest in the markets. I need to first build this much, I have to have this much wealth to begin with. That's a huge misconception, of course. You can start with as little as like 500 rupees a month. I know some mutual funds even allow like 100 rupees a month, right? Like that seems doable for most people. So start small, get comfortable with it, start seeing your money grow, and then slowly start increasing those amounts, right? Before you know it, you're kind of in the ecosystem, you're really involved, it becomes part of your life. And the last thing I'll say is community, right? Like build a tribe, get your girlfriends together. And there's a reason also why I'm saying girlfriends, because when there are men in the room, like we were talking about, women do tend to take a back seat.
Yes.
Right? Whether it's your friends or family, which is why even at Basis, because many people asked us, like, why does there need to be a separate platform for women, right? Money isn't gendered. Money is gendered. How women view money, make financial decisions, look at risk, look at long term, all of that is very different. But just having a tribe where you feel comfortable, where you feel like you're not being judged, where you feel safe to talk about this kind of stuff, half the battle is won there. Yeah. Right? When we started our community, as an experiment, we didn't restrict who could join. So everyone was welcome, men, women, didn't matter. We saw that women were joining. So there was an interest, there was an intent, but men took over the conversations, right? And women, and women were just like, and the conversations went into all kinds of even complex topics that don't necessarily affect, the average investor, if you will, right? Like how much leverage do I take to invest in this or trade? Like you don't need to and as soon as you see that kind of jargon and those complicated things, you're like, oh my God, this is too much. Let me not say anything, let me not do anything. And then we kind of pivoted that community to be women only, right? Like we would approve who could join. And that's when we saw the floodgates just open, like women just opened up right from what would people may consider silly questions, like what is a mutual fund? all the way to like, I'm going through a separation. I don't know what the hell to do with my money or how to even start reconstructing my financial life, right? Like sensitive topics you don't necessarily get to talk about before. So I think having that tribe, having your community, a place where you can freely talk about this stuff is important. So just to summarize, because I know I've spoken for a while, education, just bite size, right? Start with the basics. The Basis app is a good place to start. Don't go around Googling stuff because it can get too much information, and that leads to, it's almost like analysis paralysis, right? 2 is start small. Start with a small amount, whatever you're comfortable with, and think about it as money that you're okay losing, right? In the worst case. And then work your way up. And number 3 is find a tribe, find a group, find a community where these conversations just flow, and there's a space you can keep going back to if you get stuck or you're nervous or you don't know what to do.
So what's the biggest misconception about money, and what do women need to do to overcome that idea?
Managing money is not hard, right? I think biggest misconception is it's so difficult, there's so much out there. I think the financial services industry has been designed this way, full of jargon, full of like complex terms, etc., by design, right? It's because how people can make money from customers. If you look at it, just fundamental concepts are very, very easy to understand. So I think just getting rid of this notion that it's super hard, it's super complex, it's best left to, the finance experts, etc. Money is for everyone.
So I believe that a lot of non-financial decisions we make have an impact on our financial life. If it's true, can you share some aspects that women should be conscious about?
Yeah, so I think number 1 decision is around how much you invest in your own health, right? This could be physical health, mental health, right? Things that we may tend to ignore, especially when we're younger, right? That has an impact on everything, right? It has an impact on your wealth, right? If you're not healthy enough, could you work, could you build a corpus over your life? So I think and women tend to more so ignore this, especially after let's say becoming a mother, right? Where you think you are always a caregiver, but you need to focus on yourself as well, as part of self-care.
Right. Let's talk about marriage. Like, our parents save a lot of money for the weddings, but they don't want to give money to their daughters to start a business or to go to a college or to, do something of their own.
I think that's changing, right? I think that's changing for the positive. I think people are getting more practical about how to allocate wealth, etc. I'm not saying that give up on your dream wedding to start a business. If you can do both, great.
Why not?
Why not, right? But I feel like people are getting more practical about it.
From a personal experience about stock market, can you share top 3 insights on unlocking success despite ups and downs?
Right. So top 3 things you can do for success. So these are easier said than done, of course, right? 1 is, we talked about this a lot, just educating yourself, right? It's not a one-time thing. Keep doing it. It's an ongoing exercise. 2 is have a long-term view, right? Things take time. Compounding, the secret ingredient is time. Give things time, right? Markets by design go up and down, right? Volatility is the name of the game. But how you deal with it is what will determine your long-term success in the markets as well. This one as well, and I know we've talked a lot about how women view money, etc. Women do tend to have a better long-term view, right? Women tend to plan more for the future. They have contingency plans in place, right? They tend to be less reactive to like short-term changes, especially if those short-term changes affect their long-term goals. And the last thing I'd say is don't follow the herd, right? This happens all the time in markets. Like one person invests in crypto and and that's the big next hot thing, and then drags everyone along with them.
So next we have is rapid fire. It's one of the exciting rounds. You have to answer very quickly, okay?
Okay, I will try.
Okay, let's start. Your favorite food when stock market crashes?
It doesn't change. I love any chart. So I'll say Pani Puri.
Okay. Name 2 stock market books you recommend.
So I've really liked, so there's this book called Warren Buffett Invests Like a Girl. It actually talks about feminine traits of Warren Buffett that actually make him the most prolific investor in the world. So I'll highly recommend that if folks haven't read it. And the second one, of course, super popular, Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel.
Name 3 stock market influencers you admire.
I'm not a fan of finfluencers or stock market influencers in the pure sense of the word, but folks in the space who influence how I think about money. So there is Radhika Gupta, who runs Edelweiss. She was actually my senior in college. Kalpan Parekh, who runs DSP, and Monica Halan, I would say.
Okay. Name the most important trait required for stock market success.
Keep your eyes on the prize, maintain that long-term view, and don't invest in something you don't understand.
Thank you so much, Hena, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I had a blast with all the questions. And yeah, if I had to leave folks viewing or listening to this with something, it's your money is your business, so take control of it.
Thanks so much. Our guest is a real girl boss and she has given us some great investing goals today. So girls, what are you waiting for? Pick up your calculators and start investing today. We'll be back with more episodes of Paisa Bolta Hai.